Welcome to the Nurtured Soul. My name is Matthew, and I host this channel. And I started this channel to help people to understand a little bit more about their soul, which has been given to them by God and was given as a way of connecting with God and with people around us. And when our soul has been neglected, when our soul is wounded or hurt, it affects every area of our life. And most people are unaware of what is going on when it comes to their soul. So my goal is to help people to care for their soul. And in doing that, you're going to care for your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings. All of those things are all connected and related. And so we're living in a day where, of course, feelings and emotions tend to be running wild and out of control. And so I want to help people because you're never going to connect with people. You're never going to be heard or communicate if your soul is not nurtured. So in light of that, there are sometimes things I want to mention about that are going on in our country, and they're really a result of many people who have wounded or neglected souls, and they don't even realize it. So in light of that, one of those areas, when it comes to authority, we see when it comes to how people respond and react to authority, is one way that you can really tell if someone has a hurt or neglected soul. We've got a group of people in our country today that are wanting to defund the police, literally disband, abolish police departments. And I would say this to those people. First of all, the people that are pushing to defund police, and city council members and cities and Democrats and liberals and people that are pushing for this agenda. We just the city of Seattle just voted, their council members just voted to start the process of defunding police. There's some of this going on in Minnesota and throughout other parts of the country as well. The people that are pushing for this think somehow that they're putting forward or pursuing this political agenda, and somehow that some of them believe that they're honestly doing a good thing. What's really happening is they are showing the rest of us how hurt and how neglected their own souls are. It is a crazy, unsafe, unsound, unwise decision to defund police. And I'm going to tell you why that is here in just a moment. But first, let's go back and understand something, okay? God has ordained 3 institutions for mankind. First, we have the family, the home, which comes from God. And so it was God that put man and woman together and then told them to have children, gave them the ability to have children. So the home is a institution ordained by God. The church is an institution ordained by God, which is why I am pro-family, pro-home, pro-church. When I say church, though, I do mean a biblical church, not traditions, based on traditions, not based on religion or men, but a biblical church. We'll have more about that later. But then it comes to government, all right? And government, there is a biblical form of government that was ordained by God. In other words, God allowed it or sanctioned it. But before that, let me just say that before God did that, originally, God's original plan was that mankind would yield to Him, that God would be the authority, and that God would govern and man would yield to Him. Now, the way your soul was created, your soul was given by God, and your soul was created to to have a father, to have an authority figure that it yields to, that it listens to, and that was supposed to be God. And this is why so many people have a problem today with God. They are fighting internally in their soul. Their soul is rejecting, because of sin, is rejecting how it was made. It's going against its very nature. But God desired to govern man. Man came to a point where they said, we don't want that. God's chosen people is where we see this. God's chosen people said, we don't want to follow God. We want to be like everybody else. We want to have a human human government that we can follow and go through. And so God said, okay, we're going to do that, but understand there's going to be some difficulties with that. There's going to have to be taxes. There's got to be a way to pay for this government and people, and you're going to have to follow a person and those things. And so from that time on, there have been difficulties in government, but God said, okay, here it is. So he set up this government, and understand this. So government itself is a result of man rejecting being led by God. Okay, so that's our first issue. Our second issue is the purpose of government. When God gave the government, the purpose of it was, yes, to lead in a way, but really to protect. The purpose of government was to make sure that the people and the citizens were protected. Because there are always going to be threats. There's always going to be danger. Even freedoms itself have to be protected, and they're protected by law and order, and those laws, those have to be enforced. And so here's what we've got. Mankind will not naturally abide together in unity, will not naturally respect one another, and so there has to be laws for a society to function. Those laws must be enforced, because there will always be people that do not want to submit to those laws. And government's job, and this is one of the biggest issues, but your soul really understands this if you'll listen to it. But government's whole purpose is to protect, not to provide. We in America have gotten to where we have made government about providing everything, providing happiness, providing food, providing shelter, and you could just health care and all down the line. But that's not what God ordained it to be. God ordained the government to keep us safe. So safety and security, law and order is the primary function. Okay, so if you defund police, you are taking away the primary function of government that God ordained, which goes against God, your creator, which goes against your soul. So your soul is vexed. The more you pursue going against law and order and police departments that enforce that law and order, the more you are vexing your soul, you are wounding and hurting your soul, which is hurting yourself and others. And so no wonder we have such an unrest and unhappiness today, is because people are hurting their own souls. Now, I'm going to say this. I am pro-police department. I am pro-law enforcement and law and order, because I understand that we need them in our lives. We need laws to be enforced. But I also understand this. You're not going to have perfect law enforcement. There are going to be people that are going to mess up. There are going to be people that honestly make a mistake. And then there are going to be those bad apples out there. There's going to be police officers that are corrupt, just like there are teachers that are corrupt, and there are doctors that are corrupt, and there are pastors that are corrupt. And so the answer is not to get rid of all those people. but to deal with the corrupt ones. So we don't get rid of all the teachers, just the ones that don't care or that are trying to do a bad job. We don't get rid of all of the police officers. We find ways to deal with the ones that are corrupt, and we support the ones that are doing a good job. Okay? Because I will tell you this, there will be no freedom in the United States of America, and there are no ways for even these people that are protesting and these people that want to defund the police. The fact that you are able to have that opinion and promote that opinion, which I would completely disagree with, the fact that you're able to even have that opinion and to speak it is because we have law enforcement officers who enforce the freedoms, the laws that have allowed us to be free and function freely in America. Somebody has to enforce those. And so this is what law enforcement does. Law enforcement is going to allow us to have conversations, for people to feel safe. I will tell you this, when it comes to the soul, every soul has put in them for a soul to function and to grow and thrive, it must feel safe. It must have an environment of safety. I've already talked about that in another video. But you cannot have an environment of safety without having somebody that has given their life to make people feel safe and has given their lives to enforce the laws. There's no greater country in all the world than the United States of America. There's no country that is freer or safer, even with all that's going on. Part of that is because we have always understood in the past the purpose of our government to make sure that we are safe and protected. And so when you have, and I understand part of that is making sure that police officers are not corrupt. No one feels safe if a police officer is breaking the law or is attacking them or is corrupt. We get that, okay? There are corrupt people out there in every occupation, in every walk of life, because of our depraved sin nature and because of our society. So let's deal with those. When we find one of those, let's deal with that. But we don't attack the structure and the system. Now look, at the root of all of this, your soul was created to function under authority, proper, correct authority. And so if you are one of these people that are saying, yes, let's defund the police, let's get rid of the police department, and you're anti-patriots and you're anti-veteran and anti-soldier and all measures of authority, what you're really showing yourself and those around you is that you are fighting against your own soul given to you by God, and probably because it is so hurt and wounded and neglected, and I'm trying to help you to nurture that soul. And so these people that are wanting to defund the police also have problems with, really, you'll find they have issues with all authority in their life, whether that be parents, whether that be a boss at work or a supervisor, and then the police department, whatever it might be. They want to be able to do whatever they want, and law enforcement stands in the way of that. But they are no threat. Law enforcement, honest law enforcement officers, are no threat to people of a good, true heart that want to follow the law and whose souls are healthy and nurtured. And so I want to help you with this. I help you to understand that in any society, you're going to have people that are out of balance. You're going to have people that are dishonest. You're going to have people that do wrong and that are corrupt. And you have to deal with those things. But we've got police officers right now that are good police officers that are walking away from the job because they have no support. They have no love, no help, no encouragement, and it is unsafe for them to do their job, and they are not getting any help. And so I want to encourage you that if you're one of these people that has a problem with all police departments and all police officers, then I'd like to encourage you to say, to really ask yourself, is it really a problem with police, or is it more a problem with all authority, which ultimately comes back to a problem with you and God, which is a direct result of a soul issue? And so I'd encourage you to think about that and then say, what's the answer to this? Because even with these people that are corrupt, what is the answer to this? And the answer is to let's find out those that are corrupt and let's deal with those. And by the way, in the police department, good police officers don't want corrupt officers around either, and they don't support corrupt officers any more than I would support a corrupt pastor. I am not for that. I don't want that. He makes the rest of us look bad, and it does all kinds of harm, so I'm not going to support that just because he's a pastor. And most police officers are this exact same way. So search your heart, but more importantly, search your soul. Do I have a problem with authority in general? Because if you have a problem, if you want to defund police officers, I would say that there is a deeper issue. And I would ask you this question: have you been hurt or wounded by authority figures in the past? And the answer is probably yes. That's where you need to start. You see, the answer is not getting rid of police departments. The answer for you right now is to start out with who in authority hurts you, and then let's get you help with that. But don't defund the police. Support the good ones, encourage and strengthen them, because listen, any society that has been any major primary society that has been destroyed or has fallen apart or been taken down has been because of a deterioration from the inside, and usually it has been it starts with getting rid of law and order and those that enforce it. Okay, so I hope it'll be a help to you, and if you have questions, you can email or contact me. And remember that you are the keeper of your soul. Keep it well. God bless.